Hey y'all, how goes it? Welcome to Monkey Mind. We got like about a minute before the show actually starts for the radio thing, and then this. I don't know if I got much of a show today. I was gonna try and do the Zoom thing again, but it ain't really working. Or at least I ain't working. I should be more exact. I hope y'all doing good. Good stuff. I'm not trying to zone out too much. Alright, we're about there. Alright, welcome. This is WHIV New Orleans. We are 102.3 FM. We honor independent voices. And yeah, we're on kind of a lockdown. I'm fighting with my my mask, my new mask here. So I got one over the mic too. So we're all masked. Yeah, I think I'm officially over it. Right? I'm over it. The whole COVID thing. But yeah, so anyway, this is Monkey Mind with Rob. This show is about GBM, brain cancer, and living in one's moment. And I'm kind of leaning towards the show becoming more about living in one's moment, because that, I think, is the moral of the story. Brain cancer and all the other kind of dramas are footnotes to us living our moment, you know, and really practicing that. And I do make the analogy too, I like it, where cancer is kind of synonymous with our egos. They're both kind of parasites that hijack our awareness in our moment. And it really gets shown to us in a lot of cultural situations and stuff like that. I think that's just like the virus that's rampant on the world and causes so much distress and war and personal strife, all kind of good stuff. I was going to try and do the chat here with some people, but alas, I haven't really figured it out. I got, two things. So I got like the phone that I work on it, and then and then my computer. But I get them kind of mixed up on which one likes going. That kind of Zoom version on Facebook. The phone tends to like that, but then I can't play my music. I like my background music. Anyway, so those that aren't familiar, the monkey mind is a Buddhist reference to basically a thinker, which in other terms we could say is like our ego. Maybe not a strict definition of like what Freud would say, but on that vibe. So it's kind of like the chatter in your head. Well, I noticed it big with me is prior to getting diagnosed with brain cancer, I had a lot of like what you'd call like negative speak, where I was very the voice in my head was not very happy with me, and was letting me know it on a very, very consistent basis. And it was very hard to manage it. And maybe last night was kind of weird too, I gotta say. Dreams, they pretty much, they can kind of catch you. And I guess this time has been particularly stressful and so forth with all the monetary issues. And then I guess it brings up other stuff. Though I don't know if it was really an instigator in my case. I had some family drama. And it's kind of hit me the other day because my family member called me. and it just felt like a real disconnect. It's not like I don't, like, I guess, still loves the person, you know what I'm saying? But it's really like so much definitions on how we define things, and I don't think we're all on the same page a lot of times where we're conversing with one another. And like love, I think how I define it nowadays is really kind of accepting someone as they are and really kind of enjoying it, and taking a great deal of just joy where you just really want to be around that in a way. And then you can't always be around it.
Monkey mind.
And so then you got to make changes. Did I totally blast by that thing? Anyway, so I had brain cancer. If I sound a little spacey sometimes, I am a little spacey. And it doesn't help if I micro dose. I did just for energy today. I got my coffee too, so we'll see. But yeah, I was gonna talk as like a bunch about conspiracy stuff. So I gotta get my other friend on here sometime. He's pretty good at that. I've just been kind of enjoying that kind of, and it's got to be my ego, right? I'm right, you're wrong. I mean, ego loves doing that kind of stuff, and the monkey mind. And it's so good to give ourselves a break. Like last night I was saying I had some rough dreams. I woke up. I don't even know what I should tell you all this. Yeah, I had a dream that I actually did a number 2 in the bed. I did not, but that was my dream, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of funky. Yeah, so that was kind of weird. But yeah, it was just a lot of like high school stuff came up too. I think I'd had a phone conversation with a friend of mine who lives out of town, and he was talking about how he really called himself out. We were talking about people and how they tend to I was going to say projectile, but that ain't it. It's project, yeah, projectile. How they project things. Like you'll find a lot of people that are doing something negative. They don't like it that they're doing it, but it's more subconscious on them. And then they start calling you out on that very same behavior that they're doing. And it's yeah, it seems pretty rampant, and it's weird. It's like the people we attract in our lives. Yeah, I just been noticing that. Like a lot of key people that are in my life had tended to be that, and they really, I think, believe their banter. And I'd say the two specifically that I'm thinking of during the time periods. Now maybe not right now, but back when it was issues and stuff, they would always call out my brain injury as like, I guess you would. It's like, who are you to call me out on it, saying I'm not remembering stuff? You're the one with brain damage. So I hear you, but I don't know. You always got to bet on you. I think in a positive, in a nice way. You got to work with what you got, and I was really noticing that too. This show I really like on YouTube, it's a Fioria Apothecus or something like that. But it's really cool because he's really more into kind of the mindset of Tesla's, I guess, philosophies, and I think the ancient Greeks, as opposed to more of the Einsteins, the people that are big in atomists is what he kind of refers to it. I'm not sure that's a real term, but it's, I guess, the theories that they try and make everything into a particle, into a thing. And some things are more like a shadow. I think I kind of forgot where I was going with that because it wasn't where I'm at right now. Oh yeah, about things being kind of simple. Like I gotta think I'm kind of pretty. I mean, to self-evaluate myself, I think I'm relatively smart, but I'm not so factually with it. Like on an educational standpoint, I wouldn't say I'm too savvy. With a lot of math, a lot of things I just really almost practice being bad at, and it may have been my ego. You know, honestly, because sometimes you can. A lot of times you just, well, I'm not going to play the game, so you don't have to have the judgment of being like losing it or so forth. So some of that may be the real reality of it, like me deviating my behavior so that I get more. And that's kind of what my friend was saying about him. He kind of privately noticed that he was misrepresenting himself to others to have himself feel better and look better. And it was a real big, he said, kind of emotional thing where he was really started, privately calling himself out and just trying to be more honest. And I think it's such a great practice, is really just accepting you, because so much of us we're trying to cater to somebody else's image, and then that monkey mind then creates. It's just the same dang thing. It's like this parasite that really wants attention, and victimhood is a great way to get it. Because then you're right and somebody else is wrong. So it's always there for you to fail and celebrate your victimhood in that failure. And failure is a bad word. I'd like to deviate from that one too. Not that everybody's going to get a trophy, but everyone at the end of this will get a trophy. Yeah. Well, so much I think is just like I always make the thing a telephone, like a game of telephone. I mean, so much. I mean, all it takes is you to take some good hallucinogens and then start to really just look at the things around you. Just the build-up of kind of just to be nice silliness on and I made I think an analogy way back that it's all a pumped up variation on what's the term for it? I was gonna say sex, but it's not sex. It's like breeding, basically. Like we're just like animals. We're programmed to breed, eat. I did hear a cool thing from I think Joe Rogan, a comedy skit he did, where he was talking about the planet Earth, and if you looked at like cities and how they would expand, they basically look like was it not like a fungus or something? It's like a some kind of parasitic thing that grows on the Earth. I mean, it's very natural. And I gotta think too, it's like almost all the crazy stuff we do with toxins and everything is like a natural, strange thing, because we are a part of nature. So how could you not be natural? That doesn't mean it's, I guess, always a good thing. Like I've heard some people tell me about, I think, sexual assaults from animals of different species. I was at a bar one night, and these girls were very. I guess they didn't really like me. They were kind of a little bit more militant, and I mean I'm a little bit more kind of flippant with a lot of stuff. But then I also definitely probably take myself too seriously, and that's pretty much a downfall. Though I'm gonna forget just what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the parasite, the growth thing. But yeah, I just thought that was a really cool analogy on the Earth, how it's just cities growing like that. But then the whole natural thing, and that also relates kind of to my thought on my friend on that YouTube channel I was talking about. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place like a crazy person. Man, I didn't take good notes either for today's show. But I'm almost kind of running out of this show. I don't know. I need to do something with it. I don't feel like it's crazy enough or something. But what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say here. Anyway, so they took out a part of my right frontal lobe. I can just drop back on that. And I got like I'm deviating a little bit from the cancer part on the show, just because it's, I don't know. I don't really like to repeat on that kind of stuff, and because I don't really think about it on a daily. And I got doctor's appointments and all kind of junk, but who knows? I got an appointment on the 3rd where they look at my MRI, I had a GBM. I can just go to this basic story because I didn't talk about it on this show. Anyway, I had like a GBM in my right frontal lobe. Then that was like 14 years ago, and that's really rare. And then a little less than a year ago, because I do MRIs every year, or at least every year. Now I'm doing a bunch of them. And because they found a little less than a year ago a suspect area over my brainstem. And typically what they'll do is they will, like, drill into your brain, I think. Or if it's surgical, they'll even just, open you up and remove tissue. But brainstem is not a good area for surgery. So that's why they're monitoring me. Oh, but the moral of the story is, like, I'm being a little bit, I guess, laissez-faire with it right now, but on the 3rd, I guess he's like, it's back. I'll be like, oh, okay. I might change the show back to more of that. But, yeah, the whole medical thing. But it's, it's funky. I can ask questions here, but nobody's going to answer me. Yeah. Sorry, I'm staring at the monitor. It's never good. But yeah, but it's so much about, like, even last night, I was really just trying to say, hey, it's okay. I didn't always act the way I wanted to. Didn't always, rise to the occasion on numerous times, and it's okay. And it's so crucial, like, to forgive yourself and to really practice. I don't know, just embracing kind of the natural thing that you are. Going back to that YouTube guy, I was just thinking on that he was acting then like it was so complicated to explain. What was he trying to explain? I get he was trying to explain field theory, which apparently is a very hubba topic. And he was acting like it was so complicated. Well, I just think it falls on the teacher with that you should be able to explain everything to anybody. You know what I'm saying? You just got to break it down and speak in the right verbiage, and also cater to your student or who you're trying to share it with. It's not the student's fault. Like I'm pretty sure, I don't know which philosopher it was, but when I was in university, I took Greek studies, and had a few cool things that I got out of it that I really liked. One of them was one of these philosophers set up a dinner party, and he kind of bet his guests, or maybe it was at a friend's house, and he bet that he could have their servant tell him could solve a complex. I don't know if it was geometry. Like I said, I'm not too good with that. It was some kind of mathematical, I think, actual equation, sort of. And through a series of questions, he got the servant, who was completely uneducated and I guess was considered relatively ignorant to everyone at all the fancy people at the dinner table. I guess he was a slave too, probably. And anyway, got him through a series of questions, got him to answer got him to solve the equation or something like that. So the moral of that story is that everything, I think you can pretty much break it down. And I think where egos like to take things from us, and they practice this series with a series of even job things where they take it out of. A great example is law, where it's considered idiocy for you to represent yourself in a court of law, which it should be. That should be a natural thing to express your. If something's been done wrong to you, to express that and to articulate that without coming up with all these articles of this and that one would have to go study and get a degree to even do it. It's a separation of power, and it's all over the place. Politics is the same thing. It's all just ego, and I think it goes back to then just acquiring more, with more power like that, and that is power. You attract more of a mate. You're a peacock. You know, you're trying to get your plumage, and it all boils down to some pretty basic stuff, at least in my mind. I always kind of come back to it. And even if you're not interested in having kids or something, it's still kind of inbred in you, and it comes out in different sexual fetishes and all kind of things. It's the queuing up on the endorphins and all that kind of stuff. It's very yeah. But I left the room. What? That's weird. Okay, I clearly do not understand this whole chats thing. So yeah, I don't get that at all. Have y'all been doing Zoom at all with friends? This is kind of cool. I tried that. But man, it's like the passwords, the build-up of passwords, it's just bureaucracy after bureaucracy. But it's so much of just trying to, like, get back into your moment. Like lately I've been around some friends, like just personally, where it's like they seem like they're really just hugging on to just pain and stuff. And it's like, you almost feel like kind of flippant when you say, well, hey, you're basically creating that. And so much of it is just, us, our ego enjoys hurt. Like I said, it goes back to the victim, you're right, they're wrong. And it's just like habits. It's like gets into these bad, naughty habits. And yeah, I mean, I'm certainly no exception. No. But yeah, lately I've just been struggling with like the ennui of my I'm just daily grind. I'm just kind of a little bit too much in a rut. And then, again, that might be me even not wanting to really challenge myself in a lot of ways. I was noticing that too with like a lot of sporting stuff. Like I see a lot of that where we tend to get into our comfort zone and we don't extend ourselves into like failure. And I think so much of that's just kind of natural. I think I want to get to moving again, like traveling or something. I think that'd be fun. I have like a little travel trailer. And when I got divorced, I lived in it for like a little bit. And I went across the lake, and I would hop between two parks over there. And it was pretty fun. I mean, it was really freaking small. It was like a 16-footer, so it's 8 by, 16? And yeah, slim down the apparel that you can show. But don't you think we got too much stuff? Like now I'm back in my house, I'm trying to like read through things, and it's just like this build-up of stuff. But I do like the toys. I like them. Ooh, I just want that one. But lately I've been trying to like make it a habit of like, if I'm trying to get something, I try and then either give something away or sell it. So like I'm trying to at least not go above what I have now. So like I'm trying to go underneath it, and it's just hard. It's like that hoarding show, if you ever watch that one, where people are just like, oh, I'm gonna need this. And the irony is, a lot of the stuff that I'll throw out on like tools and stuff, or give away or whatever, it's like, man, I need that. And then you remember that you just had it, and you just put it in that bin. I shouldn't say that out loud just because hoarders might be hearing that. See, I knew it. I need this stuff. But yeah, that ain't easy. That ain't easy. Ain't easy at all. Yeah, I might do one where I try and do... I remember this one segment, I wanted to do like a sleep stuff. Do y'all ever do? Are y'all doing that thing like at night to help you sleep sometimes, or put on like YouTube, or put on one of those? They have all kind. They have a real variety of them. They got like a beach scene. They got blackout where they kill the TV screen and then they just play the music or what have you. Even years ago, I bought this thing because I really like Jeff Bridges. and it was him doing sleep tapes. And it's not really all that great, but it's sorry Jeff, but it's cool. I like the concept of it a lot, and the kind of the randomness of it, and it's kind of fun. Like stories, like that's I guess. I remember. I'm sorry. I'm gonna call it my grandfather. I remember when I was younger, he used to tell me bedtime stories, and he'd make them up, and they were always. I think they mostly starred me, but I had a because I was very into stories. I mean, you all know that, but I was always into like stories, comics, movies, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I remember that age where he hadn't amped up the narrative enough for my maturing taste in the narrative. And I remember sitting there, and it's like I loved him, and so I didn't want to really bust his bubble on that. But I was like, man, this story is kind of corny. It's a corny story. But man, I watched some junk. It's weird too, like the whole going back to the monkey mind thing, the Buddhist. The whole vibe of it was the monk was saying that it was so difficult for him to meditate because he always had so much chatter going on in his head. Like his thinker, his monkey mind, is what he called it, always wanted something to do. And so it found kind of being quiet and still boring. And so the monk would ask he would just ask himself, am I breathing? And the monkey would be like, his monkey mind would be like, ooh, I'm going to pay attention to that. And then he just listened to the breath. And then that would provide the monk stillness for his meditation. And I was like, well, man, that's just like 1 second. And then it's like I started thinking, like a month ago, I was like, oh, okay, that's the whole point of it, like living in your moment, Like your life is this moment. It's not some future thing. It's not some past event. It's right now. And falling back on that always is going to be basically your real salvation. And that goes back to what I'm saying is the moral of life, and now I think more of this radio station, because like cancer is really just kind of more of a footnote. You know what I'm saying? Like if you die in that, okay. But if you're not really in your moment and grateful for what you are and what you have right now, then you're kind of missing the point. And I think that is the point of this. So safe. Yeah, it's like, like last night in my dream, I sure wasn't thinking about being in my moment. I was getting, I don't know, it was really kind of surreal. But like I said, it's been an emotionally kind of monkey-rich environment. Like the family stuff. That's always kind of weird. And it's always the things that one of the things that I was taught, and I always say on this show, and I definitely do kind of practice. It's like if you're in something that's unhealthy, or you need to try and change it, and if you can't change it, then you get away from it. If you can't get away from it, then you got to kind of make peace with what you got or surrender to it, and then you can kind of start over. But it's more about then really reminding yourself of your moment and being in your moment. Trying to get into that, realizing that the monkey's taken over. If you're not living a state of joy, and this is pretty hardcore, so get ready. If you're not in a state of joy, ease, and lightness, then it's your monkey mind. It's not your core essence. And the reason you know you're not your monkey is because you can sit back and listen to your thoughts. At least that's the theory. And I prescribe to that. But if you want to be your monkey, you totally can. And a lot of people are damn sure going to say, I am my monkey. And it's kind of fun. I ain't lying. Monkeys do all the fun stuff. So, monkeys are fun. But, you gotta also say it's foolishness, too. You know, it's a game. Like one of the things that really hit me hard going through the cancer thing years ago is that I had a lot of people, you know, telling me I was going to die in 6 months, and this is way back when, and that was pretty much the actual norm. It was a GBM, so it was a really aggressive brain cancer, and so yeah, it's like, you know, I was like, okay. But then I had a lot of people tell me, well, you were saved for a reason. And then I was like, I remember sitting back a few days, but I was like, going, okay, I'm gonna just try and come up with something, anything. And I really, everything that I came up with that seemed lofty and grandiose, when you really boil it down to it, it's kind of like, whatever, you know. Outside of stuff that's very kind of just simplistic to the individual, like I said, like being grateful, like that's a life, what do you call it, life purpose right there. A life goal is to be grateful for your moment. You know, like all this other stuff, like what if I'm gonna cure cancer or something? Like you're just gonna die as something else if you're not. I don't know, maybe teaching people about, maybe having a radio show about living in one's moment. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. But you know, sharing stuff with people is cool. But man, my monkey is getting irritated with people. It really is. I really don't. I was trying to make some notes. Like I was thinking that the radio show, the show right before this, I think I need to force myself to listen to that more, because I've noticed that really gets my monkey very agitated. The tonality of it, the scarecrow kind of arguments of it, but it's so much a mirror too on myself, because it's like, I say like, we really need to celebrate each other's differences, but who the heck really wants to listen to somebody else banter that you don't really agree with? You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, and we all kind of gravitate towards, you know, something that confirms our thoughts. So I guess, what is the show? Mental Health with Rob.
Monkey mind.
But yeah, it's such a lesson. It really is. Like I remember this other site I joined to where everybody's like really rocking on being enlightened. And as soon as somebody pretty much opens their mouth about enlightenment, they pretty much sound pretty unenlightened. You know what I'm saying? I remember writing this one story where I had it was a mythology. I need to go back to that one. Like after I had I'm not gonna forget the whole story. Never mind. I'm just gonna forget it. But it's also what we affirm ourselves with. You gotta really watch that, because it creeps up on me too. I'll have myself some days at home say, man, I'm lonely. And I'm like telling myself I'm lonely. You know, like that is something like, or I'm sad. You know, this is a drag. I got nobody that I want to play with. You know, and then you'll tell yourself that. And like I said, like talking to my friends and stuff, it's like I really gotta watch it, just because it sounds like I'm just insensitive, or I've left some what is it, apathy. And then there might be something to that. I don't think they messed that part of my brain up, but I noticed, because I think I was crying after this. Yeah, I cried after that, so never mind. Oh, maybe the new one, the new suspect area. Because I noticed I'm not crying. I don't cry anymore. My tears ran out. Well, I used to be more like I'd cry at like a romantic movie or something like that. And like I remember this one movie we went to with my girls when I was married, and my youngest, it was something. What was that movie? I think it was like Bed Bath and Beyond or something. No, it wasn't that. It was something like that. It was like one of the Click or something like that. And so it's a father thing, so it really just hit me like the father in the spoiler alert. The father in it. Yeah, this is a big spoiler. So close your ears if you want to watch Click. Yeah, so he goes in these. He has this remote control, blah blah blah, and so he's able to like skip around stuff, and he misses out on his kid's childhood. And ironically, I guess, kind of think of the mirror of that. I guess maybe that's why it hit so hard, because in some ways that was kind of me with the tumor and just being a dope, just being a natural dope. But anyway, so the father in the thing, he realizes that he's missed his kid's childhood, and it's like because he's been clicking around, and he's had this remote control and all this junk. And anyway, so I think I started crying, and my eldest was crying too, and then the youngest was over sitting with my wife, and then she leaned over and she says, "It's just a dream," and it was. It turned out to be a dream, but I was still, I was still crying from it. But yeah, so I noticed I'm not really crying that, so I don't know if that's. They tweak something on my noodle, but I do feel empathy for some. But I guess I feel less. I feel generally less. Like we should all kind of more embrace, this life. This isn't some easy ride, and we kind of make it. It's like so much of this stuff is self-inflicted wounds. But it's also because we don't have the tools. We're not culturally taught the tools to even deal with a lot of this. I certainly wasn't. It took brain cancer for me to get introduced and to really kind of accept it. And it's like a lot of things you have to kind of hit your rock bottom or close to it before you can really appreciate and opening yourself up to certain epiphanies for healing and health. And that was certainly the case with me. Like when I first heard even Eckhart Tolle, because he has a weird accent, I was like, I ain't listening to that. This guy sounds fucking weird, man. And then I remember, I don't know, fast forward maybe 6 months later, I was just playing this stuff. Oh, I had discs of it, and I put it on my I guess it was iPod or something. Yeah, I guess my iPod or something like that. And I just played it over and over because I was really having a hard time understanding some of his concepts even. So I was really, but I could feel and see the logic in it, and it felt right, and it felt like what I was lowering my immune system and just not being grateful for what I am and what I have and what is. And I think that's just such a great practice for us all to appreciate what is. And it doesn't mean you can't, change things, but it's, in the process, you should practice having a great gratitude in changing something even. And, or even going away from it if you can't change it. And if you've got to, then making peace with what is. Back to the thing. Yeah, it just helps me out a lot. But I'm still back at tomorrow. I'll be moaning in my bed. But who knows? I'm not gonna push that out there in the universe. But yeah, I think we have so much power. Like I think the whole religious thing is really you gotta. I think it's a good practice to internalize that, where you play the role of God, you forgive yourself constantly, you love yourself, you love others. Doesn't mean you can't change them or stop them for doing harmful things. But yeah, it's really practicing that. Like you are an endless source of forgiveness for yourself. And an endless source of finding peace in right now, like right this moment, and doing little things to remind yourself that you are in this moment. Like whether it's sensory, like sometimes I'll rub my fingers together or something simple just to say, okay, here I am, I'm not in the future doing all this stuff, making all these plans for every scenario that's going to come up. And it's just not a way to live your life in a time travel. Thinking about, and it's anxiety, where you get anxiety and where depression comes from, two different sources, but it's all time travel. If you're in your moment, it's pretty good. It just is. Where we falter with our monkey is our monkey likes to go back and remember bad things that happened. Like last night, it was going through all these things, like a litmus of things I did that were either shameful, like that guy I was ashamed about, my monkey's ashamed about, and or hurtful. You know, it's like remember all the high school pains and throws like that, and then it's the transverse is living in the future. With that monkey, he's like, hey, we got this and this staring at us. We gotta get ready for this and this and this. And I mean, you can run through an endless list of scenarios you were never going to prepare yourself for, because it's limitless. And just have faith that you will rise to the occasion when it occurs, and to love yourself irregardlessly of your, and then start over. I mean, the beauty about living in your moment is it's like you got an endless supply of it. There's always like now. There's never not going to be now. So there you go. You messed up? That was 1 second ago. Don't worry about it. Alright, so I'm going to do my own spin on R. Did you know that 102.3 FM, WHIV LP, I don't know the LP, it's kind of dumb. Like I said, I'm not all that smart. Or I don't need to be saying that, do I? That's a negative. But anyway, I have fun with it. Anyway, we're been here for 5 years. We honor independent community voices. I'm going to say we could diversify maybe a little bit more. It seems like we're of one mind for the most part over here. But we got some really cool, and I know most of y'all can't see it, but I am wearing my tank top. The logo is really, really cool. It's like an old school, like one of those chrome microphones with lightning bolts coming out of it. So it's real poppy. So we got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got a fanny pack. Keep wanting to get one for Russ, a friend of ours, but they're kind of pricey. We might pony up for that one day for Russ. But they got tons of great gifts, so y'all go online and check it out. You just go to WHIVFM.org and click store. And so it's WHIV.org, and it'd be awesome. Keeps the radio station. It's pretty fun. They've got some cool music and stuff. Thanks, Taylor. My friend Taylor on there. Now I'm seeing somebody commenting to me. Yeah, so yeah, always fun. So I kind of use this as, I'm sorry, y'all are my guinea pigs. I use this as my, I guess, therapy. If y'all ever done therapy, it's really just you talking, and really the person just, it's like you basically, kind of what I said about the whole religious thing, like you're your God, you're in charge. I think the methodology, and I could be totally wrong on this, is that you have your own answers. It's just you're not accepting it or something, or releasing it, or listening to it. So you talking allows you to hear and get some kind of therapy, and it's just getting stuff out too. A lot of times we're very repressed, right? With all the rules, man. I'm not big into rules. What was it? I guess it was all in my school too, because I dropped out of high school. But I took like a GED, then I went to community, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I went to university, but it was like, I took a long road. I studied some in New Orleans Lounge. I took my sabbatical. And I got a really funny, the signage from Benny's. I don't know if y'all remember that bar. Like, we got a few bars here. And I was thinking of another bar too that I didn't hear anymore, but I don't know, I guess there were a bunch. just growing up and stuff like that. Pretty fun. I mean, I loved it here when because I came from Charleston, South Carolina, and you couldn't really drink. They were just real strict there. I mean, you could, but you couldn't really drink in a bar. And they did these weird things where like they put liquor in like little mini bottles. I mean, it always seemed I never really understood that at all. But like I said, I didn't really party there. When I came here, because I was getting in too much trouble in Charleston. And then I got to, Benny's was the first bar I got to go to, uptown. And I just thought that was the coolest place. Anyway, so I posted a sign of it on, and the sign had definitely been doctored, because they put some dirty stuff, I think, on it. Well, not really dirty, like they had a Viagra. I don't even think Viagra was a thing back then. And they had another thing that, like a, I was trying to think how to say it. Maybe I won't even say it. It's nasty. It's nasty. Anyway, so it looked like somebody, it was one of those boards that you could manipulate the letters on it. Then it had Benny's bar up top. Anyway, I posted it on my Facebook. But, yeah. Yeah, I remember always back then I was really trying to get into, like, noticing, something different, like with hallucinogens, like I was really big into that, and even by getting drunk, like I loved going out and getting blackout drunk, because it was like this mysterious, like my body was out doing stuff, and my friends would tell me later, well, you did this and that, and it wasn't always successful, as you can imagine, but I don't know, it seemed like everything was just an adventure, and but then it started to get a little redundant once you do it for a couple of years. But yeah, just like, I don't know, the mystery of it too. Whatever. But yeah, so love yourself. Now I'm gonna try to find this. I didn't do it last night. No, I'm starting to get a little shaky here, y'all. I think I can put that on here actually. I'm butchering this whole thing. Okay, bear with me here. So yeah, so I wish y'all could just talk some bunch. Maybe practice some breathing real quick. Y'all know what I'm saying when I say that? Notice your breath. Just try to breathe in for me and breathe out. And then we are gonna cap off with a song here. This song, ironically, go figure, is called Monkey Mind.
Hey, monkey, I want you to love me. Monkey, I wanna love you when I feel you, my monkey.
One hit wonder. Monkeys. I can't help but sing along. Hope y'all are singing along at home. Sing along at home. My little monkey.
This chimpanzee wearing a suit at the door sitting in the bar. He tells a joke to the bartender, who's also a chimpanzee. The joke is about two penguins. Hey, monkey, I want you to love me. Monkey, I wanna love you when I feel you, my monkey. You so mean and cruel, but you're mine all mine, my little monkey. Watch out, those goddamn monkeys fight, I tell you. Fight.
Sorry about that. I like to cancel it.
I don't really care.
Not mine, all mine. You with me all the time. What? I keep doing that again. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Ay, ay, ay. Can't help. That monkey man, monkey man.
I want you to love me.
See, we're matching the microphone. Monkey.
You're so
Mean and cruel, but you're not mine. Little monkey.
just like me.
Oh.
I want you to like me, monkey. I don't really care. You're not mine, all mine. You with me all the time. Hey, monkey. I feel you.
Ooh.
But we ain't
But we ain't one. Alright. Getting very dreamy over here. Very dreamy. So dreamy. Well, up next we got
Monkey Mom.
a cool show coming up. Gonna be Listen to Us Live, and it's with a legend of New Orleans, Red Priest, or Chin Le Rouge. I gotta still practice that. I don't know how I'm saying that right. Anyway, the next show is really cool. Lots of New Orleans music history and brain trauma. Living with what you got. I'm going to slowly pull up. See what we got. I'm going to say lots of love, guys. Take care. All right. And